Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Chairman. I want to talk very shortly, very briefly about the integration and energy storage in microgrids with some project experience and give some, that can be some recommendations for what's happening in India and beyond. We had in GSGF already a number of working groups, and there are a few which are very important for this discussion, which is, for instance, the grid connectivity of distributed generation, and also the power grid and electric energy storage, two reports which were written in 2015 and 2016, and which are available from our website. I think they are worth reading, and they give input also for this discussion. What's very important in that respect of what we are talking about here is we are talking about storage, but storage as such is only one provider of flexibility. And this should always be very much in front of any discussion, up front of any discussion on storage. Is storage at a certain moment the best option for providing the flexibility needed under certain considerations? We all know that we have a need for more flexibility due to the inflexible generation given by wind and solar, but we can do that flexibility with different options. For instance, demand-side management, for instance, flexibilizing generation by curtailing wind or sun, or using gas as a flexible generation, and storage with different time horizons. So always have a look at those four elements to see before you say storage has to be introduced. That's why we started the working group on microgrids as an element on where do we find that equilibrium between supply and demand. Can we find that equilibrium on a lower base than we are used now? And do we need then storage locally or more globally? If we look at the microgrid working group that we started, the microgrids are gathering increased attention due to their ability of efficiently, and that's very important, integrating more renewable energy, and this at the local level. And also, they improve power quality for important loads. Ladies and gentlemen, resilience is very important in that respect, because that's another benefit. They can be intentionally islanded from the conventional grid and offer a resilience under situations of energy supply emergencies. And that's why, for instance, microgrids in the United States have got an awful lot of attention after the Hurricane Sandy that has hit New York. The working group aims at collect global cases for microgrids, exchange opinions amongst members of the working groups, and identify barriers and propose solutions for further promotion. The scope is limited of that working group. We only work on grid-connected microgrids. So the microgrid is normally connected to the regular grid and can be intentionally islanded. The full isolated microgrid is out of scope. For instance, in India, as our chairman Reggie Pillai indicated, there is a lot of development of islanded, fully islanded microgrids, which may in future be connected to the overall grid, but they are working now on their own. This is not what we are talking about here. And all sizes of grid-connected microgrids are within the scope. You see here the full substation microgrid with full feeder microgrid, partial feeder, or a single customer microgrid. All are possible. We are looking for input in all over the world, globally. Japan is chairing it. Thanks, Makoto, for taking that on with your group. The co-chair is from Canada, Alex Betancourt, from Smart Grids Canada. We have input from France, Israel, India, Korea, Sweden, Belgium, and the US. So it gives a very good viewpoint on what is being done in microgrid world. And by the way, the definition of a microgrid in most of those countries is the same for 80 to 90%, but the devil is in the detail. The remaining 20 to 10% are important. This is the schedule we are working on, and this is what we've done. Let's go for the interim report. If you look at the member groups, you see that there are a lot of implementations already. And what you also see is that the demonstration tackle different problems. The problems may be reliability and resilience, or multiple power quality of supply, renewable generation integration, or deferral opportunity for capital investment in the main grid, or reduced electricity price. And you see from the dots that not all of the microgrid developments are aiming at the same target for introducing the phenomenon microgrid. If you look, for instance, at the Canadian example, you see that the housing are equipped with 5 kilowatt PV, a battery, and an EMS system. If you look at the aggregation of distributed assets to create a virtual power plant, and how the technical requirements can be done. The results were quite spectacular. The people that were involved were saving 40% on their electricity bill, which is substantial, although I must be honest, the electricity prices in Canada are not that high, but 40% is massive. Another example we have is from Israel, a government-funded project. Here we're talking about a rural cooperative community microgrid, and we're talking about critical consumers, a manufacturing plant, computer rooms, cow milking facility that can be islanded. The integration of renewables and the increasing system efficiency and resilience were important. Of course, for such small units which are long away from the main cities, that's the key issue. Price is not really a driver there. We have the Toshiba project in Los Alamos. I think it's quite interesting. For me, Los Alamos is the nuclear power center of development in the United States, and here there is the most interesting microgrid development based on renewables. Things can be very strange in the world. It's funded by NEDO, and achieved fluctuation reductions and power flow stabilization with a very high PV penetration. Together with, again, as I said, demand response. And then a battery. So you see, all three elements are there. And that's important to stress. The French call it Nice Grid, but it's a very nice acronym for Nice Grid. It depends on how you read it, but it is in Nice, the French city at the south coast. Its project is funded by ADEME and the European Commission. Again, PV integration in distributed grid, testing islanding, and very much on prosumer, producer and consumer of electricity as an element. Again, islanding during 5 hours should be possible. We have made the questionnaire, what can be done with the microgrid, and I urge you to look at the website and maybe contribute to that on what you have as projects in mind. We would be welcome to have any projects via our members that come in there. They have roles, but different roles, and I think this is very important that it should be recognized. I thank you for your attention, and you find all the information that you need on our website.
Thank you, Ronnie. I have a question. Most of the grid-connected microgrids are financial, is a main consideration, lowering the fuel cost You talked of reliability, you talked of the potential to come off the grid and connect to the grid. But when you look at most examples, University of California, Davis, University of Toronto, all the big ones, primarily still driven by the best arbitrage of the generation sources to lower their energy bill. Do you see any other applications around the world, and yours, you travel a fair bit, where they're able to come off the grid, get the benefit from the grid operator, and then connect to the grid when the grid's back to normal?
I think we are not there yet, but I've been to Germany is next door to Belgium, and if you go in the south of Germany, there are some relatively wealthy people living there in small villages, also in Switzerland, okay? And those people, they don't care about their bill. The electricity bill for them is something you don't care. But they want to show off by getting independent of the grid. And it is those showcases that will drive the whole thing. Probably comparable with what's happening in the car industry. The electric vehicles with Tesla are now coming from the top segment and trickling down. All new developments are often done by people who don't care about money. Then the technology is developed and you get down. So this is maybe a very awkward response to your question, but that's how often it's done. And I see microgrids, people that really say, our village has to be self-supplying with energy, and we'll do that. What does it cost? Tell me. I will work 2 hours for the electricity bill for next year.
Thank you so much.